think we're live at this point.
Hi!
Hello. Hello, parking meter. Hello.
So welcome to the thing.
Welcome to the jungle.
That
smells terrible.
Oh, I forgot how bad these cigars were from last week. So we're back again like we never left. Gang gang. Or whatever the kids say these days. I don't know.
Mine was already punched.
Mine was not. I pulled yours out of the wrapper. No fair. You get one that someone's already been sucking on. I wanted one someone's already been sucking on.
I wanted that.
Okay, so we're already back doing hood rat things with our hood rat friends. This...
I was a little worried I'm checking mine for beetles or beetle holes.
Beetle holes. That was not a beetle hole.
Yeah. Obviously, it's not a beetle. This isn't a beetle hole. That's why I said I'm checking it for beetle holes, not I'm checking it for more beetle holes.
Yes.
Someone obviously punched this.
But obviously, that was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
So, right off the bat...
Dom rep.
Oh. So, I want to know why you're concerned about finding beetle holes. What's wrong with smoking a few beetles with the boys?
All cigars have beetles in them.
Yes.
If beetle holes means that the beetles are up and moving around, and once you start lighting up, the beetles are just going to start running out of the holes and.
That'd be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Do they taste pretty good?
I don't know.
You ever had cigar beetle? You think it'd be a cigar flavored beetle?
I think it's more likely to be a beetle flavored cigar.
Oh. Well, if you start to smoke the cigar,
mm-hmm.
and the beetle, in their little beetle lungs, breathe in all that smoke, and now they taste like cigars. Because bugs breathe.
Makes sense to me.
Well, at any rate, Sean's not.
No reason to argue with that.
Sean's like, I don't even care to argue with that. You must be sick if you're not willing to argue some random thing.
Wrong button.
Hey, we're healthy.
Wrong button.
Oh.
There's the button. Hello, button. There we go. Oh,
okay.
Button. Who's got the button?
We always make sure to hit all the buttons and do everything we're supposed to do before we start. So once again, on top of things.
We're just the best at it.
Alright, so we already have drinks made. We already have cigars cut. Look, this looks like a big glass of urine.
I'm in what?
You heard me. This is not urine. This is another go at the Aberfeldy.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite good. Big fan. And what did you do with this, Sean? Other than make the
That's it. I didn't do anything to it.
Look extraordinarily phallic.
Mm-hmm. I'm good at phallic cubes.
Sean Moverly.
You mean what if I took a measured amount of whiskey and added a measured amount of seltzer?
You're very brave. You did a good job.
Mm-hmm. And that's all I've done with him. Usually when I'm making these, I would add a lemon swath.
Yeah.
And I'm all out of lemons.
Well, I want to go ahead and say that I hate this drink. I always have. Every version of this that I've had, I've hated. Cheers.
Except for the one that wasn't a highball because we made it with bourbon because you tasted it and you said, wow, that's really refreshing. I like it and it tastes like bourbon. Or pretty much your exact words.
Those were definitely not my exact words. I think what you misunderstood me saying was, this is garbage. And I wanted to die.
Let's see. Let's real quick add... We have a clip. Let's add that clip on here real quick.
I think you're about to add a very giant clip.
Now we'll skip to that part.
How do you know?
Because I'm the one clicking.
I was so young then.
Alright, so we're going to drag this over here.
But why?
And then we're going to take this and bring it over here.
We're good at clicking buttons.
And then we're going to transition.
Hey, there's another version of you.
10,000 cocktails tonight.
10,001.
4.
10,000 cock.
Difference.
Tails.
Drain it.
Look how full of life you were.
It's super tart.
So we have one more to do?
Building it from
I'm with super tart.
They're all glass and stainless steel, both of which are not.
There we go.
It's
All right.
interesting.
Highball.
Then. Espresso.
Then this is the difference.
Swath.
You said you've hated every form of this drink.
I said I've hated every version of this
spritz,
drink,
we heard
not
the
every
spritz,
form
that
of
was
it, every version of it.
Of course.
No, you said you hate this drink
There
in
we go.
every form we tried. You said the word form.
I thought I said version. It means the same thing.
Refreaking Russian.
Then why are you?
Freaking rushing.
Because I'm
All right.
happy to.
Ah, tasty meat poop.
That was my exact words.
That one is the most
Tasty meat
bourbon
poop.
tasting.
You're not gonna like it.
It tastes like bourbon and it tastes like limo. That one did. All right. Now let's hear your
Let's see
words
what
on
we
this.
have. Yeah, it's mm bourbon tasting.
Yep.
It's pretty refreshing though, considering what it is. Considering bourbon's not refreshing.
Way
At
different than
all.
what you said that
I
I
said
said.
first of all. Those weren't even close to the same things.
That was almost exactly what you said.
Also, no. All right. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and start getting disappointed by these cigars.
Okay.
At
I'm
this
already
point,
disappointed by these cigars.
already? How?
I don't know. How could I be? Someone already punched it for me.
No. That just means you're not disappointed in the person. It does not mean that you're... I don't know. I forgot words. I'm very tired. We both look like we're dying today.
I don't know about you, but I am dying today.
You're dying today?
Yes.
Wow. Great. This is... something.
I'm not going to say I'm disappointed. I'm just going to say I'm not really enjoying myself.
Have we already become snobs?
At least this smokes so much easier than the other one.
Oh, goodness gracious. The pool's way easier.
It's technically better than the last one.
In addition to that, the last third of it's going to actually have a taste that isn't the inside of a bug's butthole. Actually, it might be the inside of a bug's butthole, but it won't taste that way.
Yeah. There could be, no, there certainly are insects in here. Turn this on the live chat. Why does it always do top chat?
Because it hates you.
I hate top chat.
You know what else I hate? You. Oh. Nobody.
We're all alone.
Okay. So now we're smoking
Okay.
a cigar. The cigar tastes... It smells... I'll say this first. It smells exactly like a cigar. And that was such a douchey thing to say, but it smells like a cigar. The past couple ones we've had have smelled like casing or they smelled like something weird. This smells like a cigar.
Yeah. The taste isn't abysmal.
You searched for that word, but it was a good one to land on.
It makes me think of burnt wood, honestly.
It's me. My wood is burnt.
I'm so sorry.
The smell is much more bearable than the one we just had, the Pirates Bay. Not that those aren't impressive, but no one on the camera can see that.
I got this.
You got this,
Huh?
Sean. You actually do have this very well. Quite proud. Very pretty.
Huh, that's weird.
What's weird?
It's sweeter.
I want to try it, so we'll see if you're right or wrong.
Sweeter
So-
than honey and honeycomb.
Oh, good lord.
Not that sweet.
Stop.
I'm just saying, it's not that sweet.
Okay. So you discussed that our cigars are extremely average, and that I don't like the drink. So let's see if I like the drink after the cigar.
After that cigar, anything is going to taste good. Except for the pirate's booty.
It's okay. I would never ask for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never be like, hello, you. Give me that.
I could give you the Winston Churchill special.
Is that where you punch me in the face and call me a Nazi? Like, what is this?
No. He would drink several Scotch highballs a day. But he did it differently than most people. That was pretty much as far as, like, this was his substitute for water, basically. It's what he drank. But he would do this. He wouldn't put ice in it. He would just barely cover the bottom of the glass with scotch, and then he'd fill it with seltzer.
Gross.
It was basically mildly, tiny-ishly scotch-flavored seltzer.
Why don't you just make scotch-flavored seltzer?
Why would you say something so bold yet so controversial?
You're right. I feel like somebody would buy that.
Okay, so...
Queso. There's a good bug hole in mine.
What think you about the taste of the cigar, other than it's painfully average and it smells like a cigar?
I think that people who don't smoke cigars probably think that all cigars taste like this.
Mm-hmm.
Vaguely like the smell of tobacco, and yet more bitter than it needs to be for not being very bold.
Ooh.
It's bitter. It's more bitter than it should be for being like a mediumly robust cigar.
Yeah.
Which I'm not hating. I'm really for $3.50. I'm not.
Put it
mad
out
at
the
cigar.
nose, though. I'm not angry about that.
Dude, say that again. What?
I said, put it out the nose, though. I'm not angry about that.
It's not bad.
Yeah, I don't hate this one. I mean, the name kind of gives it away. It's, you get what you pay for.
In case we didn't say, we did last week. This is the cheap bastard, which was me when I bought these cigars. Not really, but our local cigar store has two options: $20 for a cigar or $3 for a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm not buying four $20 cigars for Sean.
Oh, no.
Ah!
Not for that idiot.
He's a douche.
But something.
It's true. So I'll reiterate what I said in that short video you just incriminated me on. This is refreshing. It's cold. It's wet.
And it tastes like bourbon?
It vaguely tastes like bourbon.
Shouldn't taste anything like bourbon.
It just doesn't make me...
Horny?
Well... No, I had to think about it.
Do I make you horny?
He's waving the phallic-shaped ice cube in front of me. It's gonna break.
You say phallic-shaped ice cube. I ask you, have you ever seen a phallus that looked quite like this?
You haven't spent enough time on Reddit.
I haven't spent enough time around phalluses. Folly?
Phalli?
No, it's Latin. It wouldn't be phalli. It would be phalli.
Phalli.
That was Worm.
Sorry we're so boring today. We're both dying. Literally
Yeah,
dying.
like,
We both feel like
neither of
garbage.
us know what to think about, much less talk about.
Yeah, we're definitely.
But you can
gonna
watch
die.
us enjoying the cigars if you want. Yeah, no, this is a pretty crap episode, and we admit it. So let's
we're
just
sorry,
move
we love
straight
it.
into the topic.
Let's do that because we are sucking.
Yeah.
Amma.
So the topic is finishing up the list of games from the childhood, then adding a few others. Mm-hmm. And I cannot for the life of me think of it. Okay, let's see if you can think of the name of it.
All right, let's do this.
All right. It was a top-down, two-dimensional, roguelike role-playing game on Galaxy of Games 2. or on the Galaxy of Games 1 and 2 disc, and I think it was on Galaxy of Games 2. The game was divided into 2 parts. The first part was shareware and available in its entirety on Galaxy of Games. Mm-hmm. The second part you had to pay for, and I was able to find it later.
And you're not thinking Castle of the Winds?
I'm thinking of Castle of the Winds. Okay, there we go.
First try.
Dude, you don't know. I wanted to go to bed at 10 last night. I went to bed much closer to midnight trying to figure out the name of that game.
Alright. It's probably very hard to Google search that. The top down 2-dimensional RPG from Galaxy of Games. Help me, Google. You're my only hope.
I searched an exhaustive list of games made for Windows in the 1990s to find that game. I could not find it anywhere. I turned off my phone, set it on the counter, laid down, and thought, that was a DOS game. And then I immediately said, screw it, I'm going to bed.
I thought of that very quickly. I'm kind of proud of myself. Usually I'm not the one who does that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Castle of the Winds was exactly what you just said. It was technically turn-based in that enemies did not move until you clicked in forward or whatever direction, then you moved. Mm-hmm. And it's actually, I was going to show you this a long time ago. If I haven't, I'm a terrible brother and I apologize. Mm-hmm. But if I have, this is a game called DOC. Made with Unity.
A very good
Dungeons of Chaos is what it's called. It's essentially the exact same thing, but a little more in depth.
No, that is Exile, is what that is.
Oh no, we're getting into playing it. It's not Exile.
I love Exile.
I do too, but it's not Exile.
If it plays like Castle of the Winds, just with an actual party instead of one person, and then with more detail, it's Exile.
There's one person though.
Okay, it sure looks like there's a bunch of people.
You can pick from them one at a time.
Okay.
But you have one person. So it makes it Castle of the Winds. Mm-hmm. What was that other game? We didn't play this much. It was very popular when we were young. Crusaders of Might and Magic.
Mm-hmm. I played the first Might and Magic. The first Might and Magic was... Okay, so you know how Yandorian Tales was turn-based in the same way that we just described, where you moved and then the enemies moved at the same time, yes, but then nothing happened in between turns?
Correct. Just constant 2D movements. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And then but that's how it was. You would move, and the enemies would move, and then you could move again. And then they had, like, turn-based combat and everything. If you removed everything turn-based from that and made it all real-time, that is the perfect description of the original Might and Magic. It's Yandorian Tales in real-time.
Okay. I never played it. I think we had friends who played it, but I never got after it. I just want to let you know that was super gross. Not that I didn't think it looked cool afterwards, but watching you perform that particular thing that close to that phallus. We should just hang all this up and just become an ASMR channel. We've got so many great sounds. We can just whisper instead of talking. This is a cigar. It looks like a penis.
Let's talk about games from our childhood.
Sorry, everyone.
We can just take off our shirts and we can be Amaranth.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie.
And I'm not going to say what movie it is. You guys have to guess. If you don't know it, watch it.
Go Google and tell me what comes up.
If you guys don't know that movie, go watch it right now. It's great.
It's great. Okay, so Castle of the Winds was one that you really played. I watched you a couple times, but I did not play it much. Mm-hmm. I don't know how this ever worked out, because it seemed like we were always playing games together, yet there were always games that you played without me. I don't know how this is even possible.
And until you moved out, very few games that you played without me. And I will tell you why. For one thing, while he was wasting time playing his guitar, I was learning the ways of the game.
God, don't start. Don't finish it. Don't finish that Stupid meme. I will put out this cigar on your arm. I hate you so much. But he's right.
And then we would often play games together. Oftentimes, he would either want to play nothing or play something he wanted to play.
What a jerk.
But I was always able to get him to play games with me. As a young child, this kind of stopped working at a certain point. But I promised him $20 if he would play a certain game with me. And then I didn't pay. And then the next time I promised him another $20 to play a game with me. And he would play it hoping for the $20. And again, I wouldn't pay.
So here's the thing. Towards the end, it became so obvious that Sean would say things like, I would give you $30,000 if you played this game with me. I was like, all right, fine, let's just play the game. And it was always something weird.
Let's see.
I don't even remember some of the weird ones you'd make me play with you.
Well, it's not my fault. The only two-player game you ever wanted to play was Side Pocket.
I love Side Pocket.
Side Pocket. Anyone who's played that game understands that. Anyone who hasn't played that game probably doesn't because you haven't played the game.
Anyone who's played it has played it. Yeah.
Like, I'm not even gatekeeping. Like, as part of the intro to the game, is that you probably don't get it if you haven't played the game.
Like, you're not. I'm not even. Side Pocket was pool, essentially. I say essentially. It was exactly pool. And it was...
That game is exactly pool.
There was a mode of this game that essentially you had to do trick shots. And if you did enough trick shots, you would reveal a picture of a not really all that scantily clad woman, but it was the big payoff. But when you're like 8, you're like, yes, please. I will see pictures of an almost scantily clad woman.
I mean, like, per Sega Genesis standards,
That was
the image was pretty poor. And she was fully clothed and a few other things. But, like, we were, as children,
like, wow.
like, this was a,
Don't let mom see
you know,
this.
like, this was a 40 megapixel photograph of an unclothed woman.
If even. What other games were there? So let's talk about PlayStation 1 then. I mean, we've pretty much... Sega Genesis only started getting really cool after we got a PS1 anyways. So we started getting really cool games. Oh, we did sell some games that we should not have sold.
Okay,
The first one's the one you're going to remember. The second one's the one I'm going to remember.
I sold a game that I should have sold, but I shouldn't have sold it in the way I sold it.
Yes.
All I knew is that the guy at GameStop... No, it wasn't GameStop, it was Play and Trade.
It was Play and
The guy
Trade.
at Play and Trade offered me $30 for this
In case
game.
anyone was wondering how long these places have been ripping everyone off of games,
Good.
here's how long. This was the 90s.
Yeah.
It might have been early 2000s.
Yeah. It was when Logan, our cousin, was collecting games, Sega Genesis games, and he sold me this game for like $5 because he didn't know what it was.
Yes.
I sold it because I didn't know what it was, and it sucked.
It was
And
to be fair, it was a terrible game. It was called Romance of the Five Kingdoms.
It wasn't that one.
Are you sure?
I also got that one, and I also sold it because it sucked too. I couldn't figure out how to play it. This was another strategy game based around the Revolutionary War. Is the one I was thinking of. I can't think of the name of it.
It almost has the same name though.
Yeah, but the game was actually great because the game was terrible, so they stopped producing it because of how bad it was.
Yeah.
Because they stopped producing it, it became rare and now it's valuable.
It was still terrible.
Yeah, it still sucked.
So,
But like but that shows how much it was. I went to the game store. I didn't realize at the time, like, I was old enough that I was able to, you know, figure out buying and selling games and doing that, but I was young enough that I didn't realize that these people at the game store are not going to give me market value. I didn't understand that. All I should know, what I should have done was I should have went to the game store and said, how much will you give me for this game? The guy said, $30. I should have said, eBay. Right then.
So
But-
what happened? Tell everyone what happened when you didn't sell it on eBay. How much did it go for on eBay? How much does it go for on eBay? Maybe even now.
I don't remember how much they were asking for on eBay. Obviously, the game store asked a tiny bit more than eBay does because they have their markup. But I went in a couple days later, and the guy had it up for, I want to say $120.
I was gonna say 130, so you're probably right.
Yeah.
The only other game that we should not have sold that we did was Young Indiana Jones.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So this actually is more of a throwback than that one, a little bit further back. The Indiana Jones series was still kind of at its peak. So you had a spin-off.
Kind of. It was much later than the most, several years past the most recent movie at that time, and several years before the
Worst
other
one
movie.
ever. Yeah, The Atrocity. But I mean, when I say it was close to its peak, like after the first movie it was at its peak. This is third sequel. Second sequel. So
We don't speak of the third sequel.
we do not.
Actually, I like the movie. I didn't like it as an Indiana Jones movie, but I liked the movie.
That's fair. But they had the spin-off series called Young Indiana Jones. It's exactly what you think it was. It was Young Indiana Jones, just running around doing Young Indiana Jones.
It was male
stuff.
Lara Croft.
It was.
Is what it was.
Isn't Indiana Jones male Lara Croft?
No, Indiana Jones came first.
Okay. So this is after Lara Croft.
Lara
This
Croft
after
is
Tomb
female
Raider.
Indiana Jones. It's like, everyone likes Indiana... Really what it was, everyone likes Indiana Jones. And the guy said, I have an idea. Let's make
Let's
Indiana
give him
Jones,
boobs.
but model Indiana Jones after my hot daughter.
Ugh.
Is really what happened. I think it was Lara Croft that was modeled after the guy's hot daughter.
Oh, that's weird. I don't like that. Oh. Roll Tide. Anyways.
Red Tide.
At this point.
That kills nanny fish.
Too many. It's sad. This game was actually a lot of fun. But we sold it because we wanted more games, and we found out it was worth money because there was a guy in the old Namco building who used to buy and sell Sega Genesis games. Bite me.
I thought you were going to say... I don't know why. I thought you were going to say there was a guy in the Old Testament. And I don't know why I thought that.
Yay old Sega Genesis. There used to have a flea market in a very large building called the Natgo Building close to where we grew up.
And the Lord said, Abraham, rip off those children and buy their video games.
And thus, this guy did just that. He bought and sold video games. And we had a copy of this game. And he offered to give us maybe $20 for it. And Dad was actually there. And Dad was like, wait a minute. This man at a flea market wants to give you $20. You paid $5. This must be worth more than $20. So Dad made us go home and sell this on eBay. We sold probably 3 games. I don't remember how much money we made total, but Young Indiana Jones we got like $50. All I know is that we used it to buy a lot of other games. And I wish we wouldn't have sold it because I don't remember the games. I don't even remember what games we bought with it, so it wasn't that important. Because we probably bought whatever version of NBA Live that was active at the time that I wanted desperately. And
Yeah,
it was it's fair. It was such a good game. No, I remember. Here's why it was the worst thing ever. We bought NBA Live 98. Move your hand. This is why this is the worst thing of all time. In NBA Live 98...
And Mega Man X5, we got that at the same time as NBA Live 98.
That's a great game. NBA Live 98 for the Sega Genesis. Worst game ever because if you played as the Bulls in NBA Live 98, you had Michael Jordan. Unless you played the playoffs, in which when you were done, he retires in a video game.
Which was hilarious.
And you can't reset a Sega Genesis cartridge.
NBA Live 98.
I'm talking about the one for Sega Genesis. You're talking about the one for PlayStation 1.
I know, but you bought them. But and then the 99 one. Here's how everything was. Like here's how jam packed everything was. He bought NBA Live. I think it was 99 for the PS2.
PS1.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. when you bought it, the PS2 was already out, and it looked like a PS2 case because it was a big square case.
Yes,
like the
it was
PS2 games
enormous.
were. But it was, it was. That's what it was. And
Also-
then they had that crazy, terribly rendered intro. Welcome to 1999.
And it's 2002. We're like, thank you. What happened, by the way, in all these games, with any game that had Michael Jordan in it in a season he retired, they would have him retire, and they replaced him with someone called Player, and he was number 99, and he was not as good
Gary
as Michael
Player?
Jordan. It was not Gary Player. That would be hilarious. His name was Player, and his number was 99, and he was not very good. And he replaced Michael Jordan, so obviously, I was sad. Because, like all short, not very good at basketball white children, I loved Michael Jordan.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable to put Michael Jordan in contention for the best basketball player of all time.
Because he is, that's fine.
I mean, like, there's some people say, this person's the best, this person's the best. No matter who you are, Michael Jordan is in contention for that spot.
He's
if
in
he
your
isn't.
top 5, or you suck.
Yeah.
So to have him replaced by some weird rendered, sometimes white guy, sometimes... I don't want to call them guys, just like sticks of whatever they were at that time. They look terrible. But like, you had Michael Jordan. Now here's a 6'4" white guy. We're like, no, thank you. No, thank you,
Steve
Terry
Kerr?
Graham. Well, Steve Kerr was shorter than that, I think.
Was he?
I don't know. I'm just saying things at this point. Yeah, we're dying. This is sad.
Yeah. I honestly probably shouldn't be smoking right now, but I'm doing it for you guys. I love you guys.
You're doing it for you. Calm down. Well, let's go into PS1 era games. So there's a game that I desperately wanted to get good at. And I never
hold
got
on.
good at.
If we're going into PS1 era games, we don't have to talk about the obscure games that most people don't know. Like we can talk about the greats. So
We can do both.
yeah, so I will talk about one, you talk about the other. That sounds great. So
Okay.
you talk about Mega Man 8.
Mega Man?
And then I'll talk about probably my third favorite game of all time.
I love that you said third. Mega Man 8. If you're familiar with the Mega Man games, this was the 8th one. Not really. It was more
It
like
wasn't.
the 10th or 11th one, probably.
Probably.
Mega Man 8 was, in my opinion, the greatest Mega Man game of all time next to X5. Because, no, I'm not counting Legends in with the rest of the Mega Man game. It's nothing like them. At all. Mega Man 8 was a step up in graphics from the previous one. It was a noticeable step up from 7 to 8. You got to see Rush a lot. You got to see... I think you got to see Zero a fair bit. He popped in.
No, not Zero. Proto
Not
Man.
Zero. Thank you. I got my two extras confused. I don't think... I might be wrong. Is this the first game that had 3 separate zones? Because you had your first section, and then your second section, and then you had your boss area for Dr. Wily. Was this the first one to do this? Like
I
you could
think that
access
was a
them.
very... Like, okay, so you had the first section and the second section, but they were just divided in lines. It wasn't like X5, where there was actually... These are your first 4, and then later you fight the next 4. Like... there were the bosses and they were in lines, but that was just to divide them. It wasn't like they weren't separated into sections or anything. And I think the way that Mega Man 8 did it was a very common theme in past games.
So then I might be getting a little bit confused. But you do, when you beat all the bosses, you will then go to a separate area to go see Dr. Wily. And I don't know if that was it. I doubt that was the first game to do that. Most of them probably had to do that. That was loud. But the bosses were some of the most memorable Mega Man bosses for me. You had Tango Man, who had everyone has the different weapons, obviously. He had the tornado hold, which was my favorite thing to use against people. My second favorite one was where I send people emails to stop them in the middle of live streams. It's a very, very solid move. It works very well. Especially against mid-20s males that are white.
Mm. I didn't hear what you said.
I know.
Yeah.
I said my second favorite Mega Man move is where you can send emails to mid-20 males that are white and can interrupt them in the middle of a live stream.
Yeah, those people are idiots.
But please, tell them about your game. There's not much... I mean, like, Mega Man's just Mega Man. You're side-scrolling. Mm-hmm. It's a side-scrolling... Not quite beat 'em up, because technically you could run wherever you wanted, whatever you wanted to, instead of having different segments. But you got to get different moves, you could charge your shots, you could do all the random stuff, except for that the bosses were the most memorable, and everything in between, all the segments with Dr. Light were great. And not holograms, which was great, because he was there, and not dead.
Mm-hmm. Now, thank you for saying to me...
Goodbye, Smoke.
Sean, well, you didn't say Sean, but you said it to me. Mega Man is just Mega Man, a side-scrolling game that does this and this and this. Because it's a perfect segue into the game that I want to talk about.
Your third favorite game of all time.
My third favorite game of all time, Mega Man Legends 2.
It's good. It's so good.
And now...
I made a special point to say that Mega Man Legends 2 doesn't count.
Yes.
Continue.
Now that I'm talking about Mega Man Legends 2... It's not just Mega Man. It is a fully 3D game where you move about in fully 3D space with fully blocky polygons.
Very blocky polygons.
It's so fun. There are a couple butts in it.
Two that I know of.
Two. I can only think of one right off the bat.
Well, you have the best one.
The only butt I can think of right off the bat is the floating girl.
That's the best one.
Mm-hmm.
That game.
He remembers it as being the best one because of his age when he played the game.
There were butts in it.
As an adult, it's not the best butt, seen as the person, I believe canonically, was a 12-year-old.
No, canonically this person was thousands of years old.
In the same way
Which one's worse? I don't know.
In the same way that Ong is hundreds of years old.
In the same way that I was 14 when I played it, so I was allowed to think that it was okay.
Yeah, obviously. That's why I changed. At the age we played it at, it was great. At the age we are now, it's not necessarily the best butt to come across.
You're like, gross. 12-year-olds.
I mean, still play the game. It's a freaking amazing game.
It's an amazing game.
But it is. So it's fully 3D, and instead of I kill this boss gives me a weapon, and now I'm able to use the boss weapon. It is not that. It is you go through, you explore, you find chests, you kill enemies, you get money, you get items. Sometimes you can take those items and sometimes you can take those items and build new weapons, but it wasn't like sometimes those items came from bosses. Yes. Most of the time, those items, like, you just find them in cracks in the wall or in a chest or something like that, and it would be really weird items like an eye, a green eye,
a broken part.
Yeah, and then you'd combine that. Actually, you may not need to combine that with anything else. And you get a laser, which used more energy than the other weapon in the game. But if you cheated, if you used your Game Shark and gave yourself infinite weapon energy, I melted the final boss with that laser. Like, I got to that point, there's the final boss, it's dead.
That was so funny.
Was it.
There was no reward to the end of that game. We were grinding that game hard, giggity, figuratively, literally, whatever you want to call it. And then we got to the final boss, and we knew it was going to be difficult, and then we just cheated. But it was still fun.
Now, the reason there wasn't actually, even if you beat it legitimately, there wasn't really a reward to beating the game, because the reward was supposed to be at the end of the final game. The game ended on a cliffhanger, and it was supposed to be wrapped up in Mega Man Legends 3. And I have personally been waiting almost 20 years for Mega Man Legends 3.
Yeah.
Capcom announced they're making Mega Man Legends 3.
A couple times.
Yeah, they made it. It was going to be a 3DS exclusive. I was going to buy a 3DS just for that.
100%.
Like, I probably wasn't going to buy any other game for the 3DS. Just buy 3DS, buy Mega Man Legends 3, and that's it. And then some butthole at Capcom said, you know, it's been so long since Mega Man Legends 2, nobody really remembers that game. No one's going to buy this. Let's not make it. And I wanted to strangle someone.
If someone would have made a package that was a 3DS just with Mega Man Legends 3, and they were like, this is the screw you, pay us $20 more than any other starter bundle just because you want this game, I'd be like, yeah, sure. Here's $30 more. I would have given you $400. Because I probably would have. Let's just be honest.
What I'm saying right now, if somebody who knows what they're doing starts a Kickstarter and is for making Mega Man Legends 3 and just leaving Capcom out of it, I'll back you.
I will find a way to give you whatever money you need. I have 2 kidneys. I understand you don't need one of them. You only need probably, 20% of your liver?
Now, wait a minute. You have 2 kidneys, and you understand he doesn't need one of them.
Yeah, I'm
so
going to take his kidney. I'm going to sell it. I know, guys. I'm going to sell his kidney.
I know a few guys, too, that just none of them buy kidneys.
I'm sure if you ask around up, you a kidney? Want a kidney? You a kidney? Somebody's like, I'll have a kidney.
Actually, I take that back. I know a few people from the United Kingdom, mostly from Scotland, which actually helps.
And they went to buy kidneys?
Yeah, so they can make their steak and kidney pie.
You know, I don't think they use human kidneys for that. I think
it would sell for more if they did.
Yeah, it'd be worth more.
They have a restaurant, and then at the end, excuse me, sir. Yes, manager. Why are you approaching my table? I was just seeing if you were enjoying the braised peasant. Don't you mean pheasant?
I used to I still do, frequent No Sleep, which is a subreddit with nothing but short horror stories written by other Redditors. That's fantastic. My favorite story of all time that you make fun of me for liking is on there.
Actually, I like it. I just don't know why you like it so much.
I love it. The Goat Man is the greatest thing of all time.
There's the Goat Man, and there's the Goat Man by Antsy or something, by something, and that's the one that you like.
It is.
The regular Goat Man's kind of garbage. But that one's pretty good, just because I guess the reason why it's good is because there's a bad guy that doesn't do anything, and that makes it creepier.
It makes it creepier, and also it's a bad guy that... For me, one of the ultimate things of horror would be you're in a group of 10, 12, whatever, people, your friends, and you know one of those people is actually some kind of a bad guy, demonic entity, whatever. Only you know it. You can't tell anyone, because how will they believe you?
Mm-hmm.
It's a great story. It's really horrific. And the moments where the person can see the Goat Man or knows that it's impersonating as a human are terrifyingly creepy parts in that story. And it ends with them just being like, all right, bye. And also, to this day, I will hold to the fact that if you ever go outside of my door and play that sound of that cat, I will shoot right through the door. I will just shoot. I won't open the door. I won't yell. I'll start firing. No way. That scares the crap out of me. I'm 28 years old, and if that happens when I'm slightly sleepy, I'm probably just going to die. I'm going to have an aneurysm right there. It terrifies me.
I'll hold you to that.
Like, I hope you will die right there. But we digress.
Does not disappoint me.
We are really sick and tired and terrible at tangents right now. What were we even talking about? Why did we bring up the Goat Man?
We're talking about Mega Man Legends. And
Well,
then...
no, because there's one No Sleep story where this person's trying to get into this particular thing in Europe that they're known for having the most expensive and most ridiculous delicacies of all time, and it's almost always like humans made into food in some crazy way or some ridiculously illegal but rare food that's really delicious. And in one episode they have caviar and they let it know that this is actually female human eggs and smell like caviar. That was a terrible point for me to make, but there we are. Eat babies!
I like monkeys.
Oh! Okay.
I went to a pet store and they were selling monkeys, 5 cents a piece.
That's cheap.
I was a little suspicious because normally they cost thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought, what the heck? I like monkeys. I bought 200 of them. Brought them into my house.
Uh-huh.
These monkeys were upset by the new environment, and they started throwing themselves off my couch against the wall.
Oh.
It was funny up until about the 3rd hour of this, and then it started to become annoying. My monkeys were making a lot of noise. I then discovered why the monkeys were cheap.
Mm-hmm.
They died.
Mm-hmm.
All of them. They dropped dead.
Oh.
And now I had 200 dead monkeys all over my house, hanging off the bookcase on my bed. I had to get rid of these monkeys.
Yeah.
I tried to flush one down the toilet.
How big was it?
It didn't work. It got stuck.
Oh.
I then decided to pretend they were stuffed animals.
Okay.
That worked until they started to decompose. And my house began to stink. It smelled of dead monkeys.
As it would.
I then tried to put the monkeys down the garbage disposal. They would not fit. Nothing happened.
Fair.
I tried to burn the monkeys. I put them on a big pile in my bed and tried to light them on fire. It turns out my bed is also flammable. I had to extinguish the fire.
Sure.
So I had one very soggy monkey stuck in my toilet, and 199 charred monkeys on my bed.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to throw them away,
Right.
but the trash man said he could not take charred monkeys.
Very specific, but I appreciate him.
I said, I also have a wet one. He didn't take that one either.
Sure. Very vigilant.
I then had a good idea to give them out as gifts to my friends.
Well, you know.
They saw the dead, decomposing monkeys in the gift box after they opened it, and they weren't exactly sure what to say.
Sure.
They told me that they liked them, but I could tell they were lying.
Well. Sure.
Ingrates. So I punched them in the testicles. I like monkeys.
Do you need to go to bed?
Probably.
Wow.
I have so much stuff to do today, though.
Well, this is the worst podcast ever. Well, it can't be the worst ever. We're smoking cigars and drinking, so this is one of the worst podcasts ever.
Last night was the worst birthday ever. Bar none. Okay. All right, guys, you're just sitting here watching us say nothing. Well, you're not, but we're just sitting here saying nothing. And I don't want to subject you to that any longer. This is half the length of the normal one, but thanks to our terrible sickness and stupidity, I think this is going to have to be it.
Well, I can tell you what. Next week, starting next week, and every week after that, let's actually do an intro. How's that sound?
Okay.
That will be the improvement we make. We'll have an intro.
We'll have an intro. Don't worry, guys. Our quality will increase by leaps and bounds thanks to our intro.
That's how you know that we're terrible. Let's do a music and get out of here.
Yeah. We didn't do music last week because we were in a rush, but
Yeah, we
music
did.
is important.
We did too.
No, we didn't. We ended with we ended with bingo.
Oh, we did. Didn't we do music first?
No. Who's picking the music?
It's your turn.
It's my turn? Okay,
know,
there was
maybe.
something that I remembered wanting to put on for the music. Something that I really wanted to do, and I can't think of it.
Yeah, see, I did Audio Slave last week. But specifically because you picked a song and I was like, no, screw you, it's this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Kior's up there still. All That Remains.
Okay,
The
you
Only
know
Girl
what?
That Remains album.
It might be my turn. I'll go next time you pick, because I can't think of the thing I wanted. Think
this
of the
time?
thing I wanted.
All right. Should we do a throwback or we should do something new?
Oh, either. Either or.
Let's do a throwback. What's something I've been... Oh, I do know what I want to do. So, in my opinion, in contention for my favorite song of all time, let's listen to Selves We Cannot Forgive by the Black Crown Initiate. And also Sonic Drowning.
You say selves?
Selves We Cannot Forgive. Right there on top's the album. You can click on it. It'll show you the whole album. Track number 5, please.
I can't find selves we cannot forget.
I said forgive twice.
Except for you. I can go back. You said forget.
Please go back.
Okay.
You are wrong. It takes a turn you won't expect, so we have to listen to part of it. Which one is it, Media?
Media, yeah.
So I'm a progressive metalhead.
Mm-hmm.
This is,
I'm a metal progressive head.
this is considered to be progressive black death metal.
Okay.
Why? That's very grateful.
You said you're kicking it back, like going
Not way back.
I was gonna
A few
say,
years
like,
back.
how far? How is 2016?
It's not current.
Sure it is.
If it's not new, it's not good. I like the song because it's very progressive. It's got a lot of twists and turns. It's about my birthday. I think that's how I just read it. But lots of piano. These guys all play 8-string guitars and 6-string basses. Bass, 8-string, bass, one bass. That's all basses.
I've never heard of such.
Such. It has a big punch right here, which is nice.
I would love to know why.
We are not capped at negative 8 decibels.
But I can make it.
Of course. But that's why we are quieter, yet peace. We don't have a compressor on this now, Sean. We're not being compressed.
I want a compressor on this, so I need to switch these. Put the master over here, the mic over here, so I can actually use the compressor on my voice.
I would tell you
Why do I actually my cord's not long enough for each one of the microphones are there? I have to plug in the small one.
I love that. We're going to listen to this for a few more seconds because I want to hear the hard turn it takes because it makes me happy. But yeah, this is one of the best bands of all time.
The album's less than an hour.
It's progressive. It doesn't always have to be an hour. Their other album that is one of my top 5 all time EP called The Song of the Crippled Bolt. It's 27 minutes long. It's one long song that is separated into segments. So that's the most progressive thing you can possibly do.
I think I know why extended plays generally are shorter than albums. Because I think extended play has nothing to do with the way that the album is recorded. They recorded that up top. Because each EP is like extended play and extra long play and standard play are all ways of recording, all ways of recording of different media. And I think that an EP is just a thing that is recorded in the extended play way instead of, I assume extra long play is how albums roll in recorded. So they do that for possibly greater audio quality with smaller, or with a shorter overall album length. Is my guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about recording.
So interestingly enough, it's kind of a great song. Sorry, I just love the song.
It's kind of a great song. It's probably Tyler.
It's probably Tyler. The terms LP and EP have kind of become slang now. What you're saying is much more accurate as a real definition. But now an EP is a slang for like saying, hey, in between our albums, here's 5 songs. But I mean, they're still the same quality. Now, so if someone goes, we're making an EP, you know it's going to be 4 songs long, and it'll sound, it's recorded at the same studio they recorded their first album. At the same level of quality, but it's now just 4 songs for 5. Like, Aston just came out with an EP a little while back. It was 4 songs. They recorded at a massive studio with amazing equipment, and it was incredible high quality, but it was an EP with 4 tracks.
Also, why do so many bands, or by so many bands, I mean all of them. I don't think it's the band that does this. I think
Ooh, that last part. Nope.
music music production places. Why do so many of them insist on compressing into, and by compressing I don't mean this kind of compressing, I mean file compressing into MP3 when you could use certain lossless qualities like FLAC and it would still be a small enough file size that it would fit on a CD?
Mostly because when you push it to a CD, putting something onto a CD is in and of itself a form of compression, and you would lose that quality anyways. You cannot get high quality out of a CD. You can go ahead and pause. It's going to go into another song. You would still end up at the same quality, and an MP3 is easier to mess with, and slightly smaller size, and the quality you would not know if it's on a disc. But this is why now when you see people sell music, a lot of times what they do, excuse me, is when they sell digital versions of the album, they will sell MP3s and offer waves or whatever other quality files as an option, because now people can very, very easily access those things and play them. You could not at all 15 years ago. I mean, you could, but the average person couldn't. And also, MP3s are better because if you sold MP3s, you could fit more of them onto a player. And they're still getting compressed, so it doesn't matter. So now, essentially, when you're doing WAV files, people are like saying, here's what I made, exactly how I made it without jacking it up. Here are the WAV files. I'm going to send them to you or put them in a cloud so there's no form of compression anywhere. That's the only real difference you can really reach is going. You might as well just go straight to WAV. Either MP3 and compress the crap out because no one cares, or buy a WAV because you really won't hear the difference if you put it on a CD.
Okay.
Or on a vinyl because...
Yeah.
I mean, I love vinyls and I collect vinyls, but it's not.
Oh, by the way, there are lots of people that I've heard people say the reason they give the reason why they listen to vinyl, and it's because of an argument, and I'm going to just give my opinion of that argument right now, real quick, and that is this. Yes, you buffoon. It is in fact possible to digitally mimic the sound of the sound and quality of what you hear off of a vinyl. You can use a digital sound and make it sound identical to that. The reason why they don't is not because they can't. It's because the average person doesn't actually prefer vinyl.
There are, and I will say this, and this is hilarious to me. Especially now, vinyl is now more of a collector's item than it is anything else. There are, and I will say this, there are a large list of artists or whoever, it's usually not the artist, I guess there's usually more about the producer of the album, gross, excuse me, that the vinyl sounds way better than the CD. Massively, because you are in fact cutting the wave into a piece of plastic essentially, as opposed to trying to shove it into tiny holes on a CD. And it does sound better than a CD. This is true. In this day and age, if you think it's better to have the sound of vinyl versus having the WAV file running through your stereo system, you're an idiot. And I love vinyl, but you're an idiot. And I will say this too, excuse me, a lot of bands put out vinyls that sound gross. That are shockingly worse. For instance,
sound gross.
Well, you just pick your nose and ate it in front of a whole person.
I don't care about. Well, I do care about those people. I like you.
You're just gross. You like so I'll do this for instance. I like the band Shinedown. Ellie's favorite band is the band Shinedown. They have the worst sounding vinyls. Oh my goodness, it's terrible. They're thin. The vocals are mixed to like in a weird spot. They're garbage.
We can still use them as frisbees.
I don't know that I would, because they still cost $30. Thanks, but you can buy a CD for $10. It sounds better. Yeah. Dang it, Obama, ruining albums in 2018. What's wrong with you? Gosh. But there are a list of bands who the vinyls sound shockingly better than the CD. But then all those same bands, you could go get the WAV files, and you'd be like, oh, I'm going to put this through my really good speaker system or through the nice headphones that I'm wearing, and you'll sound way better than vinyl, so calm down. You. For instance, Steven Wilson used to be the founding member writer for Porcupine Tree, prog rock band from the 2000 era.
Oh, I think he was the guy that did the Jerry Springer knockoff. Used to be one of his security guards.
That's Steve Wilco.
Steve Wilco. Okay.
Steven Wilson is a very sad boy. All of his songs are very sad, but his vinyls are just impeccable quality, and they sound fantastic. I'm very proud of them. They're very sad. He's sad. They don't sound sad. He's sad. But I don't know. I don't understand the argument either. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, sure, you're right. Sounds better than a CD. Good job. But now that we have most of our music is digital, you're wrong. You're just shockingly wrong. Stop having opinions.
I've had shrimp cocktail before, and you're wrong.
All right, let's add that song to the list and get the heck out of here because we're both dying and it's showing in how terrible we are at this today.
All right, as we leave, I'm going to say two things.
Say three things. Why not?
No, I only want to say two things.
It's over there.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah, we're dying, guys. Sorry.
The first thing I want to say is, I don't think we ever actually officially called ourselves such, but if we have, I want to recant the statement that we are a podcast.
This is fair.
I would like to not call us a podcast. I'd like to just this is not the Super Whiskey Bros podcast. This is the Super Whiskey Bros show.
At this point, you're right.
And I think that's how it should remain. We can handle it in a podcasty way if we like at certain times, but I think it should remain a show. That way we're not held to the unspoken rules of podcasting. And because of that, I will also say, anyone who watches and wants to watch and is watching and is doing whatever they want, maybe not right now because we're leaving and it's ending, but feel free to throw out stuff in chat. We will respond to you if we happen to be looking at the chat and see it. Like that, we will do that. Like we're not, because it's not going to be like a podcast where we say I'm talking to him, he's talking to me, and you're just listening to us talk. That's kind of what's going on. But also we're talking directly. Everything we're saying instead of kind of is a conversation back and forth, but it's all directed to you. So if you're here and you want to say something in chat and you have a question or a statement based on what we say, we'll respond to it.
Also,
100%.
yeah, this is much more. I really feel like we are more streaming than we are podcasting, even though we kind of do it in podcast form. So I'll agree with you. Speaking of which, we should probably start loading some of our if we do now and then, which I'm a terrible adult and have so many adult things and children. If we do streams where we're playing a game, we can also put those on the channel. We should start doing that too.
Rory, how's it going?
Good morning, man. We're not men. Don't confuse him with that.
No, you probably don't know Rory because you don't monitor the comments. This is the man that said he was happy to see two young men taking to cigars and pipes instead of cigarettes.
Well, then you are a gentleman and a scholar, and I appreciate you.
He's one of our very, very first subscribers. How are you doing, sir?
If you're still watching, howdy, howdy. You know who I miss? Howdy Doody.
Howdy doody. You mean
I don't know his name.
you mean Mike Shelton?
Sure, Mike Shelton.
No, it's not Mike Shelton.
I know.
But
Well, thank you for throwing a few things up in the chat, Rory. Appreciate
yeah,
you.
thank you. You came by.
I mean, same. Neither are we. We just listened to a bunch of really weird black metal. I don't think we're allowed to be gentlemen anymore.
Yeah. And I'm glad you stopped by, and I'm glad you popped up in the chat, but you came by, unless you heard what we were saying beforehand, then you know. But if you didn't, you came by at possibly the worst possible time, because we are just about to end.
Oh, yeah, man. We're both dying. We're both super sick.
Yeah, we, neither of us feel great, so we're stopping at the hour mark instead of at the hour and a half.
Good times.
But thank you for stopping by, and we will hopefully catch you on the next one.
Have fun, friends.
Later.